Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we will be taking a deeper dive into our thoughts about the Keke Palmer interview with Shelly and Olandria.
Two of my favorite people from this season. I need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We did a video yesterday about Nicolandria. Make sure y'all check that out. I have to put down some house rules, Blair.
Okay. Let's hear it.
I have to put down some house rules, and you can add to it, right?
Yeah.
I had to escort someone out the club yesterday, y'all.
Oh, man.
I was a reviewer turned bouncer.
Oh, goodness.
And I had to politely escort someone out the club. Here's one thing, guys, right? And I'm going to say this as nice as I can. When I tell you what I mean, it is not your job to tell me what I mean. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely. I think we're pretty clear in our points and our discussion and the things that we believe. And those are the things that we discuss on our channel.
Yes.
What comes out of our mouth.
Yes. So when I tell you what I mean, and then you tell me what I mean, you will get escorted out the club.
Yeah.
Because you're coming here with preconceptions. You're coming here saying, hey, you know, there's racial undertones that you're doing. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Because that's not what I mean.
Yeah, we're just talking.
We are debriefing literally everybody that was a main character. I understand that people say, why don't y'all do Iris and Pepe? No, we're not.
They didn't even get screen time.
No, they did not get screen time. Okay. We're not going to do Iris and Pepe to prove a point that we're not even doing the point that you said that we're doing.
Yeah.
We're having fun. You get what I'm saying? You ready to talk about this episode?
I just want to encourage everybody to share your perspective, share your opinions. They don't have to match ours.
No.
This is something that we do for fun. This is something that we do on the side, and we do it to talk about the shows that we enjoy. And that's pretty much what the discussion and conversations are about. We don't get too heavy over here.
No, we don't.
We like to enjoy ourselves and enjoy our community, and we want you to enjoy yourselves too.
But Blair, you're doing something that you don't know what you're doing. And I know what you're doing. I'm going to call it out. I'm like, hey, let's all just touch the grass a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's nice outside.
Yeah.
My first opinion about this interview, I hear a lot of mixed reviews on this interview right here.
Okay.
Right? And I'm kind of leaning towards the side of I enjoyed it. Right? I can see some of the flaws in the interview with Keke and things like that. But we got to understand this is not going to be the first and only interview that they're going to do. Right? I think we should give grace to Keke for sure, because for one, it's hard to interview one person at that, two people at the same time.
Right.
And to try to basically get to every point within an hour. You know what I'm saying? So I think overall, there were some points that I wish we could have got more details to this day. We don't know what really happened on the heart rate challenge. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, I think there was some, you know, little gems that we picked up that I think Keke did an okay, great job at.
Yeah.
You know? You ready to get into it?
I'm ready.
Let's go, Blair.
Okay, so I thought you were leading.
I thought like you had the list up because
I'll get into what we can talk about. Okay, so pretty much I felt like the interview was a little bit all over the place. It didn't take like a clear trajectory, which is absolutely okay. I felt like this was more so a conversation between girlfriends more than it was actually digging deep to try to get to the root of some of our questions, which I do feel like Keke did ask some really good questions, but I also felt like there were not answers given all the time, and Keke was giving a lot of her opinion, which was cool because, like I said, it was more of discussion based than I think that like some of the things that I wanted answered. So I'll just dive into the main thing that I really wanted to know is what happened during the heart rate challenge. And, you know, Keke asked him, well, Shelly, what happened? What were you so upset about? And the conversation kind of turned from what happened to the internet backlash that they received and the the racial overtones, undertones of the way that she reacted instead of the actual issue of what did Huda do. And that's what something that I was hoping to hear from Shelly, and maybe like you said in other interviews we might be able to get that information. But you know, Shelly and Olandria both agreed that everyone said that Huda went out of bounds and what she did. Huda agreed with that sentiment, and so she felt right in her way of being upset. It was also discussed of how Keke, or maybe it was viewed by some people that Ace was downplaying how she felt because of how she moved during the game when it came to Chris.
Okay.
So, I mean, any thoughts about that particular portion of where they were discussing the heart rate challenge?
This is the part that actually disappointed me in the interview. The only part, actually. Because keke literally says something across the lines of, tell us what happened during the heart rate challenge, right? And Shelly response was, well, I don't know what y'all saw.
Yeah.
Right? And I wish keke response would have been like, well, I would tell you what we saw and compare notes with you. Like basically, I want to know what happened. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, what did we not see? Like what
exactly?
What was the course of events?
Because one thing that they kept stressing throughout the interview, Alandria and Shelly, was that, hey, really, we filmed for hours on hours on hours. Some challenges take 6 hours and things like that, and y'all only see 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not really concerned what I saw. You get what I'm saying? Because if I only saw 10 minutes of it, I want to know exactly from the person that took offense of the heart rate challenge, what happened. I'm not here to debate if it was offensive or anything like that. Huda apologized or faked apologize, whatever you want to call it. Everybody in the villa said that it went too far. I just want to know the details of what happened. Yeah. Like, why did you feel the way you felt outside of the overarching feeling of, I felt like during challenges when Jeremiah was here, we was respectful, and I just felt like you crossed the line with me, with Ace and things like that. I understand that. What happened?
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we heard interviews from Taylor and Clark, and basically they asked in details like, did Huda sit on his face and things like that? And Taylor said, basically damn near, you get what I'm saying? And then we hear Huda thing, and she said, no, I didn't sit on nobody's face. I'm just like, Shelly was the one that actually took offense to what happened. I would have loved to hear in detail what really happened in the heart rate challenge, just so we could be like, okay, now we actually heard it from the person that actually had the issue with the offender.
Right.
Dude, you get what I'm saying? One thing I actually liked about this interview was, for one, from the jump, it was a sisterhood, right? And they was a sisterhood before they realized they was a sisterhood. We basically were like, listen here, Shelly, Alandria, y'all gonna be close, y'all gonna be good, things like that, right? Yeah. And one thing I noticed when, because we talked about basically Olandria and Taylor's history, that when Taylor first walked in, they did a lot of talking, Shelly and Olandria, and she said, Shelly knew I like a cowboy, basically the values and things like that, basically a Southern man, right? So when Taylor walked in, Shelly told Olandria, there go your man, right? And I was like, I found that interesting, because it's kind of like, when you haven't dated for 5 years and things like that, as like Olandria said, and she said she's been approached multiple times to do the show. I'm happy she finally did it this year and things like that. I can understand why it could kind of feel like fate, right? When you look back over the whole Taylor and Olandria thing, it made me go like, especially watching all the 30 plus episodes, I'm like, I could kind of understand why she held on for that long. Because even when she said in the interview that she wanted to cut it off, Shelly was the one that was encouraging her, like, hey, I don't think it'd be smart to cut it off right now.
And we saw that every time there was discussion, she would always bring up Taylor in conversation. We were like, oh my gosh, Shelly, stop bringing Taylor up.
But here's the thing about it. This is that 6 hours of filming that we don't see compared to the 10 minutes.
Right.
She said Taylor was actually he was a gentleman to every woman in the villa. He was the one making sure that everybody coffee orders was right, that basically that everybody got their breakfast. Basically, he was like showing more affection than what we saw on camera compared to, things like that. One thing that Olandria did not see until she got out the villa was when he basically was saying, I'm not physically attracted to her, to paraphrase.
Right.
And she said, like, I did not know that. And if I would have known that, like, I wouldn't have been over here chasing after this guy. Like, I don't need to chase after him and things like that. Especially for some guy that's like finding it hard to find me physically attractive. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I will say that I was glad to hear that from Olandria.
Facts.
Because the way that things were going in the season, it definitely looked like it was mostly one-sided, especially during their conversations. And even when she was saying that, she does have a tendency, I think, along the lines of like being loyal or kind of staying in situations a little bit too long. And that's something that she probably did during the show. And that was something that she had tried not to do. This is what she said during the season as to why she was holding on to Taylor for so long.
Yes.
Now with this interview, and of course she has more information, knowing that if he would have given her certain signs, she wouldn't have pressed the issue the way that she did.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was just good to learn that piece of information.
And now it kind of broadened out at least the perspective for me of now I kind of understand why Olandria was fighting hard for her cowboy, for her fate. Because from the beginning, you got this relationship, this platonic relationship with your sister, Shelly, and she's basically encouraging you like, hey, stay open, you know, try, let's see what happens. But at the end of the day, as we said throughout the review, I'm not going to put the onus on Olandria for basically still being in a relationship with a guy who can't even tell her to her face that, hey, I'm having a hard time with physical attraction.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From the 10 minutes that we saw every night and things like that, it was obvious to us because we got the behind the scenes of what Taylor was talking to with Ace. And at the thing, we was like, hey, how about we try to send you some type of pigeon in like the sky, and like we send you some type of message. How about we break you up and put you with Jalen, another cowboy, and things like that. And it just, I can understand why she may have felt attached to Taylor, because if he's doing all those things in the villa that we did not see on camera, I can see why when he finally come back from Casa and he picks Clark, everybody's like, what the heck? I thought you was all for Olandria. He I think she said he was even giving her compliments and stuff like that behind the scenes. So I can understand why like she felt like really like betrayed in like that way.
Yeah, I can imagine that what the information she received was probably a lot more conflicting than what we saw. And I get it. People were saying, like Ian said, that he was shocked by it. All the Islanders were shocked by it. But as a viewer watching how they pieced it together, Taylor didn't look interested.
No, he didn't.
And Olandria was doing a lot of the talking and communicating and reasoning as to why they weren't progressing in their relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, if he is doing a little bit more here and there, and you're holding on to those, you know, breadcrumbs, as people say he was breadcrumbing her, then I can imagine that it would have turned out the way it was. But that's why, number one, Taylor should have been more upfront about where he stood, so that way they both knew where they stood in their relationship. But at the same time, Olandria, I felt like there was enough information to see that you guys weren't progressing. Even when Shelly was having that conversation after the Doors thing, it was just like, did you guys kiss afterwards? Like, were you excited? Like, what exactly was happening? And I felt like I saw Olandria's wheels turning and be like, we didn't really have that kind of reaction.
Yeah.
You know? So, so anything else?
Even to this point, to this point where I think Olandria tried to justify this, even though I think from a guy perspective, like, there's no excuse for this. Keke said something across the lines of when they surprised them in the bedroom because everybody thought they was eliminated. And then when Taylor saw Nick, he bypassed Olandria and hugged Nick without acknowledging Olandria. And Olandria justified that with like, well, the guys are very close the same way as I'm close with the girls. I probably would have done the same thing if I would have seen the girls. And I'm just like, I don't think so. I think from like a viewer's perspective, if he was really into you with all the genuine interests and things that he was doing behind the scenes, if he was really as honest as, you know, he said he was and things of that nature, there's no way I am giving Nick a 10-minute hug. And like, hold on, wait a minute. Y'all was eliminated and came back?
Yeah.
My girl was eliminated? Like, I'm going to hug my girl. You get what I'm saying? So that's why, like, it's very conflicting, and I really can't wait to the reunion to where like Taylor got to answer some of these questions like face to face. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Then there was a conversation about Nick and Sierra.
Yes.
And how Olandria was really wanting to be respectful of her friendship of Sierra, and how she knew during Casa that Sierra was really thinking about Nick, missing Nick. And so when it was presented the opportunity to explore him, she in a way held herself back, and she also did feel something during the kiss, but she was trying to convince herself that she didn't. Okay. So that way she wouldn't necessarily be stepping on toes, because she was one of the primary people you know, promoting like girls and friendship and all that type of stuff. And I say to that I saw that I saw that happening when it happened on the show.
Okay.
And I do think that I'm glad that Olandria is no longer in that headspace, because I do think that the Islanders can get a little too comfortable with the friendships versus actually being there for the love, which is for what you're for. If you think back to season 6, the girls were fighting over men.
Oh yeah, they were making Miguel eggs at 10 o'clock at night.
Miguel was getting different eggs made while another girl was trying to talk to him. So I'm just saying, like, there is supposed to be a competition when it comes to the person that you're interested in. And I get it. By Casa, you've been there a while. You've developed strong friendships, and you kind of feel like you know who you want to be with.
Yeah.
And maybe she thought that she really wanted to be with Taylor, but given the fact that she saw how Taylor was moving in Casa, since she got back there, what was it, like a day or so before they actually had the recouplings, like, she saw that Taylor was investing some time in somebody else, and I just kind of wish that she didn't have such loyalty to Sierra in the moment.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard though, because for one, they talked about Sierra, and they talked about how they felt when Sierra was yanked from the villa and things like that. And one thing that they say is that they did not know at the time what she was yanked for. Right. So they all cried because they really like Sierra, and it's kind of hard to balance what you just said, Blair, because not only is she seeing, basically Taylor trying to basically, I don't know, like, to me, I felt like it was very obvious to me that Taylor was stringing her along.
Yeah.
With the 10 minutes that I saw. I understand the coffee and like the tea and the breakfast and things like that, but even with the little edits that we saw from the show, it was very obvious to me that Taylor was stringing Alandria on, even to the point where when he had a chance to stand up to be with somebody else, he did that. You get what I'm saying?
And that's why I wish she would have remained a little more open.
Yeah, but the only reason why I push back on that is, okay, that solves the Taylor issue, but she is basically the mother of the villa. She is seeing it from Sierra's POV as well.
Yeah.
And one thing that she said during Casa, she said Sierra really missed Nick. Like, Sierra was really for Nick. So even though she may have been open to explore, that still doesn't give her, or she didn't feel like she still had the green light to explore Nick, because Sierra's here, and like, she really likes Nick. They really like each other, of how she was explaining it, right? So it was very interesting to hear from their POV of the morning of when they found out that Sierra has to leave and that they didn't know. And she said, Alandria said that in the moment, in real time, at least the time they was filmed, that she haven't been able to get in touch with Sierra and things like that because, the DMs and things like that. Shelly said that she was able to get in touch, that Sierra reached out and they talked. And they asked her, is she going to come to the reunion? And they don't know, right? I think we're leaning more on the side of maybe not, because if you get yanked from the villa.
Yeah, I don't see why they would bring
I don't see why. But I expect Sierra, somebody go talk to Sierra.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? One thing that Keke said in this interview, which I actually thought was the best question out of...
before you get there.
Go ahead.
I did want to add just the fact that I'm not trying to really critique Olandria about the Sierra situation, and it probably does sound like I am. I guess my thing is that I don't think she did anything wrong. I think that she moved how she was supposed to move within her friendships and with the information that she had in the moment. But I guess the want that I had for her is, number one, for her to win. I wanted her to win.
Okay.
And with that being my motivation for her, I wanted her to take every opportunity to basically have different options, so that way she wasn't only relying on Taylor.
Yeah.
And so that's where my critiques or anything come from. It's not to try to scrutinize her, so to speak. It's just that I just wanted her to win. Like, I wanted to be able to vote for her and get behind her to win. And I really wanted there to be more options for her, and I felt like she kind of closed some options off for herself.
And I think that's why Shelly was basically like, hey, I don't think you should just end it with Taylor right now, because you've been focusing only on Taylor. Let him figure out how he's gonna balance talking to both of y'all, and that in the meantime you go out and you explore and things like that.
Yeah.
So I can understand that. One thing I got from their relationship, just Shelly and Alandria, I felt like even though Alandria may be the big sister to everybody else, I felt like Shelly is Alandria's big sister, at least from like the way they're vibing, or how they are retelling the stories, where there was a lot of times Shelly was in Alandria's ear, right? Even though Olandria was in basically everybody's ear. And one thing that they said, as we go get on the Mean Girls topic, which I thought was a good transition that Keke did, was that hey, everybody over here calling us mean girls, but all the girls in the villa is coming to us for advice.
Yeah.
Because we are basically like, we are emotionally intelligent and stuff like that, emotionally mature, actually, these two. And one thing that Keke brought up, and I thought the fact that she brought this up was a great point. And a lot of people bypass this, but I'm happy Keke caught it. The whole, you deserve some real men, right? And then that's when Olandria was like, we good. Like, because Huda was trying to highlight a point or highlight something so early in the season to where Olandria was like, it's not even that deep. Like, we're we good. And then we saw Huda with the tears. And then in a moment, like literally less than 24 hours, we seen Olandria having to apologize to Huda because we know what happens when, you made Huda cry. Off of something that you didn't even do. You're talking to us, and I'm telling you it's okay, like relax. And now all of a sudden I did something to you. I think when they touched on basically having to carry the burden as black women on the show, and basically even still as gracious as they showed themselves on the show, they still get labeled as mean girls. I think the fact that they even felt that burden, I think like they handled it so great, in my opinion, and even still today handled it great. Not even taking the low road with anybody. You get what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't serve them.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they're right. Like, why you have to prove yourself to be right when at the end of the day, like, the truth will eventually come to light? What was your thoughts on basically them being labeled as mean girls and how they basically had to carry it throughout the whole season?
Yeah, I think this is a perfect segue into talking about the issues of the racism and everything that they've been experiencing on social media wise. Number one, I want to say these ladies are gorgeous.
Beyond.
They are literal dolls. We were just talking about the other day how somebody should make a doll out of the both of them because they're literal perfection. And not only are they beautiful, but they are graceful, they're gracious, smart. They're smart, they're great communicators, and they have genuine love for each other. And I like to see that, just like when they would like get up in the mornings and be in the same blanket while they got up and went wherever they went, I guess, to start getting
bathroom,
ready.
I guess.
I'm just like, they are the cutest. Like, they're amazing. And I do want to say that, being a black woman in the space that they were in, number one, Love Island traditionally is not a safe place or a best bet for a black woman, period. Because a lot of the times it's favored for people who aren't black to be winners or to get the limelight, and a lot of the black women are not really seen as desirable. I will say within the past few years of Love Island USA, it's definitely made a turn, but black women were always left to be by themselves or trying to figure out who can they connect with. I mean, the UK, I feel like it hasn't changed at all.
I'm so happy you brought in the UK, because before like you lose your train of thought, we review both shows, the UK and USA, and
it's a mess. Like, these girls are gorgeous and they don't get any type of shine.
And y'all gotta understand, the USA version is now the number one version, but it hasn't always been that way. You get what I'm saying? The UK version, basically, it expanded. It was UK first and it expanded to the US and stuff like that. And what we seen happen in the UK version, it's like, oh my goodness, it's like people had to basically call them out for it. Like, what are y'all doing? Which I think is the reason why in the USA version, before they even step in the villa, the minute that the cast is revealed, we're like, I'm behind Shelly, I'm behind Olandria, I'm behind what's her name, Janae, I am behind Serena,
because the black girls don't get a fair shot,
because we don't want to do a replica of the original franchise. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's really where, if you want to call it bias, but it's not even bias in my opinion. I think it's like, hey, let's level it to where it's actually equal. Because many times they're not. It could be like this, and sometimes we gotta say, hey, whoever's with Amaya is gonna win. Because any other time on the original franchise, Amaya probably wouldn't have made it. You get what I'm saying? Shelly probably wouldn't have made it. Olandria probably wouldn't have made it. So we just basically said, we're going to get behind these girls just to protect them, to make sure that they get an equal shot. Not that they get a shot that is above everybody else, that they get an equal shot on a show, on a franchise that probably wasn't so equal back in the day.
Yeah, and so when it comes to the Huda situation, I don't think Olandria did anything wrong by telling Huda to chill.
Not in the least
and
bit.
I do think that, whether it's, implicit bias or all that type of stuff, or straight out racism, to where people do become more fearful, more sensitive when Black women talk to them, or maybe they don't like the tone of our voice, or the way that, she sits up straight. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like all these different things that being a Black woman, period, but also being a Black woman in the Love Island space that you're having to deal with and work around. And I felt like they handled themselves amazing. And I do think that it's unfair that when they had to come out, they had to see BuzzFeed's knuckle sandwich.
I still don't get it.
The Olandria with having the face of George Floyd. And I think that all of that is disgusting. This is a game show, and these people are on here to find love, and this is the type of stuff that I don't like to see. I think that it's fun for us to have discussions and thoughts about the inner workings of the relationships and the friendships, but of course we know that race plays a part, especially on shows like Love Island, to where we're not always desired. You know, that's very clear. But I guess my point is that when I talk about or when it's posed to us to talk about the racism and all the type of stuff that the people are experiencing, all I really can say is I see it. It's happening. It's disgusting. And I hope that they don't have to, I hope they find ways to protect themselves from that type of hate.
And that's what Alandria did.
And I guess for me, there's not much more for me to dig into it other than I understand. I live it. I get it. And the thing is, and they're doing a great job with handling it, and the people who are the weirdos who are putting them in these predicaments not only need to touch grass, but they need to read a book, they need to get off the internet, they need to, I don't know, get out of here. But the thing is just like, I get it, and I think that they have done a great job with how they handled themselves as far as just being well-rounded good people and interacting with people with kindness, even to the fact that they wanted to make sure that they got Andreina's name correctly so that she could be seen and heard and brought in as the fact that she was a bombshell, and they wanted to make sure they had that level of respect for her. So I have nothing more to say other than those people are disgusting, and I see that there is an issue of race when it comes to how these women are treated and the way that they are reacted to on this show, and it's terrible. And that's why I get behind them immediately, because I want them to have a fair shot.
Exactly. And guess what? Shelly Olandria is just like me. She said, we all don't know how to say her name. And I said, you just like me. I said, you just like me. But I think that's what people really don't understand. That's why with the last video that we did, people are trying to point out the racial undertones to it as if we don't see it and things like that. But the whole point is that was not the motivation or even the point of the video that we did yesterday and things of that nature, right? The point that I find so interesting and so it's almost like a light chuckle to yourself. They are in this villa just to give y'all some depth. They said they don't know what time it is. They don't know what day it is, right? So off top, you already in a space to where you're just there. Some days they get 6 hours of sleep. She said some days we get 3 hours of sleep. Some days we get 2 hours of sleep. So they basically put you in a mental space to where you're really just reacting and not really being proactive. You ask her what time it is, they say it's island time. I don't understand how somebody don't crash out off of that alone, right? But I find it so funny that I chuckle to myself that even with all of that to where you don't know what's going on, you can still recognize, oh, I need to apologize to this girl. Because I know how they go spin it. And then even when I do apologize to this girl, they still go try to spin it. That's why I'm like, I've been in these boardrooms with these big execs before, and I don't understand how that BuzzFeed post even made it to the floor. Well, I know how.
Exactly.
But I'm just like, do you know stuff like that can ruin like really whole companies and things like that unless there's some privilege behind it? But I'm like, Shelly haven't really done anything except express the fact that she did not like what happened in the heart rate challenge, and then for that alone she gets a knuckle sandwich.
Nah. I think that there's room for discussion on is what exactly happened. Was it different than what everyone else did? And absolutely understand the point that Huda is being a hypocrite because she wouldn't want anyone to do to Jeremiah what she did to Ace. So I think that is definitely a fair point, but it's room for discussion of the situation. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel.
I like one part they touched on it for a short period of time, but they touched on it with Shelly about her being attracted to men and women and things like that. And one thing that she said, and she said in her intro, she just said like she felt the reason why she felt the freedom to not hide it because she didn't have to hide it from her parents, her Haitian parents. You get what I'm saying? And that's why I love Haiti, because they the ones that fought for their independence. Like that's why I'm like, I got family that's Haitian. But anyway, my whole point is that is so, what's the word, freeing in a way, to where I'm like, oh, she never even felt the burden to hide it.
Yeah.
That's why she could say, oh, I'm not straight, I'm not bi, I'm Shelly. Because when her father approached her and had a conversation and her mother approached her, they just told her and accepted her as just be Shelly. You don't have to particularly come out to me. The same way as if you were straight, you wouldn't have to come out and let me know that you're straight. Just be you. And we will accept you. So I thought, even though they only touched on it for 45 seconds, I thought that was very freeing for some people, because we know some people are watching and they be like, you know what, I do like the fact that Shelly coming out here and basically saying like, you know what, I'm Shelly, this is what I like, you know what I mean, just don't judge me based on who I like, judge me for like the contents of my character, because Shelly is not just someone that just likes whoever she likes. I'm nice, I'm patient, I'm kind, I'm all these things. You get what I'm saying? Some things I understand, some things I won't understand. Sometimes I'm stubborn, sometimes I'm not. And I like the fact that even though she brought that up, she also said, and Ace had no problem with it because they don't make it a fetish. Ace haven't made it a fetish. He basically just said, hey, are you into me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Bet. That's all I need to know. And that in itself, I think, in my opinion, just basically took off the stigma of basically like in some people's relationship, to where it's like, you know what, be free. As long as you like me, that's all I'm worried about. Is there another thing you want to touch on this topic with race before I move on to something else?
No, not really.
Right. One thing that came out to me, oh, Chris, you about to talk about Nicolandria. I am about to talk about Nicolandria because they talked about Nicolandria, right?
Oh, I do want to touch on the thing that people say on this talking point. I've heard you guys and your talking point about how people who have critiques about Nicolandria can't fathom that a white man would be interested in a dark-skinned black woman. That probably is some people's take.
Yeah.
But like we said with the PSA at the beginning, we'll tell you
Yeah.
specifically what the reasons that there might be some concern on the validity of Nicolandria. I am the believer that there is chemistry there, but I think it's a fair opinion for you to believe that because it was orchestrated by production, based off of the public's love for the both of them, that there is a concern of, is this something that they truly feel, or is it something that they feel pressured to be into?
Yeah.
And that, and then I think that's a good segue into your conversation about some of the pressures that they're dealing with from the public of how they want to navigate their relationship. Is there a group of people who probably can't fathom that? Absolutely. But there is also a group of people who feel like they are receiving unnecessary pressure from their fans. It's love, but it's still pressure of whether or not they can navigate the relationship to their comfortability at their pace, whether they want to be in it or whether they don't, because of outside pressures.
Yeah.
So
and the pressures could be, even though the intent can mean well, but pressure is still pressure. Someone in the comments of last video literally said, like, no, they cannot break up. This is what America wants. I'm like, I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because don't make either of them a slave to each other, because this is what America wants. I want them to have the freedom, since they are out the villa and they can know what day it is now, to explore. And if in exploring they say, hey, we tried, you know what, Nicolandria lasted this long, I don't want the think pieces to start coming out of basically like, oh no, you know what, they broke up because of the pressure. No. Give them the freedom to explore. And go ahead.
And I think that freedom in exploring means that they're still dating.
Yeah.
They're not exclusives. People can get really weird. If they were to see Olandria or Nick out with somebody else and folks get a hold of a picture and say, where's Olandria? Where's Nick?
Do not come after that. Do not come after that man. And look, it works both ways.
It can get crazy.
Do not go after Nick if you see him out with another girl. The same way if you see Olandria out with another guy, do not go after Olandria. That's what I mean when I say, can they break up?
Yeah.
Because the brand is strong. And I understand some people are like, well, Taylor and Clark got a brand. No, they don't. Like I want people to be honest with me if you're going to have a discussion with me. You get what I'm saying? With us at that. And one thing that Olandria said about the beginning of the relationship and things of that nature, where Keke basically acts like, like you and Nick, like what was your thoughts basically? And this is what she said. This is what Olandria said. She said, it's so crazy because I'm looking back at these edits.
Yeah, y'all making like 2-hour long edits about them. And I will say, it's cute. It is very cute. But can it be pressure? Absolutely.
Touch on grass, y'all. She said, it's crazy because I'm looking back at these edits and I'm like, damn, the signs. It looked like the signs is there. But when you're in the villa, it was not that apparent to me. Now, let's stop right there. I can understand why it's not apparent to you. Because you don't know what day it is?
Yes, you don't know what time it is.
You don't know what time it is?
You're running off an hour of sleep.
Every time you ask them what time it is, they say it's Island time. Get up out and go out there and film. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand why it's not apparent to you, right? I'm like, bro, I see that it's happening on these edits, but in the villa, I just didn't see it like that. That's an interesting quote to me. Because, like I said, before Nick and Olandria was even a thing physically, in the sense of them actually being together, Nicolandria was alive and well. I think y'all slogan was, we gonna be Delulu until it's true, or like whatever it is, right? And I'm just like, that's the pressure I'm talking about. This is not the pressure of me including race or undertones of race. This is the pressure that we put on as Americans. Well, not me, because I ain't make no edits. But the edits are basically like, hey, we seeing something that you're not seeing. Hey, give Nick a shot. And I'm coming from the perspective, from a guy perspective of, hey, I understand that I am married to a black woman, but I didn't only date black women and things like that. I've dated someone outside the race of black.
Same.
So, you know what I mean? So I understand from a guy perspective, not as a black guy, but as a guy, I never got the feeling from Nick that he don't date black women.
Never.
He never gave that to me.
Yeah.
So his reason to be hesitant wasn't, at least from me, that, oh, she's black and she may not be into me. I took it as you're hesitant from talking to her is because you may not want to really like explore that connection.
Or she may not be into me.
Maybe.
She likes a cowboy. She likes a Southern guy. This is what she keeps talking about. And that's not me. And maybe I shouldn't try. And I understand. But even then, yeah, right? I understand that for some women, they may feel that way. But from a guy, if you're truly into a woman and you really want to explore that connection, there was nothing stopping Nick from exploring that connection outside the fact that when he was with Sierra, you get what I'm saying? Everybody a lot of things.
Everybody's saying that Taylor was the one that told him to back off. No man is going to stop another man from exploring a connection that he really wants to explore. I seen Nick pull, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Andreina. You get what I'm saying? So race was never a factor with me. It was basically like, oh, okay, maybe you didn't see it, right? And then there's another quote. Let me see if I can get it right here. To where she said her and Nick was having a conversation, Alandria, outside the villa. And this is what Nick said. Nick said, he feels like I'm feeling a lot of pressure from the media. You know what I mean? He was like, I think we should continue to go at the pace that we're going. I agree. Yeah. I agree that y'all should go slow. And I agree there should be no time restraint on how slow they go. I don't think if they decide to show up to the reunion and still not like exclusive, I have no problem with that. You get what I'm saying? If they go the next year to where it's a whole new season and things like that, and they still exploring each other, I'm fine with that. Yeah. I'm not putting the pressure or making edits that, hey, y'all need to close off and you know what? Y'all need to show me the Thanksgiving pictures. Y'all need to show me the Christmas pictures.
Like I said, I'll be happy to see him, but I ain't asking for it.
You're part of the problem. You get what I'm saying? You're part of the problem. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. I think they should have the freedom to do whatever they want outside of the pressure of the edits, outside of the pressure of potential dollars, outside of the pressure of all the above.
Their hive.
And guess what? I say the same thing for Maya and Brian, right? Just because they won the show, I'm not saying because they won the show they have to stay together and things of that nature. Everyone should have the freedom to do whatever they want to do without the reaction of the fans of Love Island.
And the thing is that those of us who have watched Love Island for multiple seasons, we know these people don't always last.
No.
And, you know, this is kind of like a fun summer fling. They might last for a little bit after. With the popularity of the show growing, people might feel like they should stay together longer for the opportunity for jobs and brand deals. And I think that's just the changing in just the popularity of the show and the additional pressures that might be on it. But we obviously know, you know, these people are young. They may or may not stay together.
So let me finish this quote. Excuse me. This is Olandria speaking for Nick right here. Alandria said, he's like, bro, I'm feeling a lot of pressure from the media. You know what I mean? He was like, I think we should continue to go at the pace we're going. There's no reason for us to jump ship because they want to. You know what I mean? So I don't know. There's no reason for us to jump ship because they want to. Two ways to take that, right? Two ways in the sense of maybe there's a side of the internet. Mind you, we're on YouTube. I'm not on Twitter and things like that. So I don't know what people are saying. There may be some people that feel like that they need to break up, right?
And they might be getting that pressure.
There's a reality of there's people that feel like they should be together and stay together. There's that pressure. So I can understand why they are basically becoming professional jugglers of having to juggle not only their own feelings for each other, but the feelings for the public.
Right.
you get what I'm saying? Like, so I can understand that. She said, we still like each other. Our connection is very much genuine. Even if people, Chris, are questioning it because the first time there was no spark. That's her words. I'm not making it up of saying like everybody keep telling me go back to the first episode. I said there's 36 episodes. Like, I don't only have to watch the first episode. I watch all 36 of them. I reviewed all 36 of them, right? She said, out her mouth, she said, our connection is very genuine, even if people are questioning it because the first time there was no spark. I felt like we owed so much respect to the current partners or whatever, and that's facts. I can respect that, right? So we're going to continue to go at our own pace and enjoy each other's company. That doesn't mean that they are going to become boyfriend and girlfriend, guys. And they shouldn't feel the pressure to be boyfriend and girlfriend at a certain time.
Or they might. Who knows?
I'm just saying, I'm not putting that pressure on them.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Is there anything else that stood out to you in this interview?
No, not really. I mean, I enjoyed the conversation. I enjoyed seeing them again. And I look forward to the reunion. I don't know if they're going to have any more interviews with them. I like them interviewing together. It was fun to me. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard for me to respect them more than I already do. You get what I'm saying? I already held both of them in high regard. I love the fact that that I think the thing that I love about us, and when I say us, I mean us as a people, black people, right? Is that we are very aware of how we have to present ourselves out in the world.
Yeah.
And one thing that Alandria said that Shelly definitely backed up in the interview, Alandria said, my presence intimidates men and women. Right? And I'm like, oh, that's what I said. Oh, she's hip.
And not only just because she's a black woman, but she's beautiful.
Yeah.
She's got a banging body.
And she said she's natural.
Yep. She's smart. I mean, these are all these things to where, you know, people could find reasons to be intimidated.
Yes.
And because she stands up straight. That's another reason people can be intimidated.
And that's the thing about it. And that's the thing that I really felt bad. And I wish Keke would have touched on this, but Keke may not have known. And plus, Keke did say, hey, I want to keep y'all longer, but y'all got to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? One thing that came out that I wish Keke would have touched on, but I hope somebody do touch on it. The news came out that out of everyone in the villa, Shelly was the one that cried the most. Right? And there is a strength to being viewed as strong. There's a strength to being viewed as stoic in like a way. Like basically like, oh, like, you know what, Shelly is very, you know, grounded. You get what I'm saying? She's strong and things like that. But there's also a backside of that same coin to where as strong as you look, as stoic as you look, people kind of don't really humanize you. You get what I'm saying? And when I say humanize you, meaning like, oh, she has feelings.
Yeah.
So when the first time that she actually showed her feelings in her basically her distasteful of the whole heart rate challenge, it came off as if Shelly was being a mean girl. But I'm like, oh, because we haven't seen her cry throughout the whole time. We haven't seen the humanized emotions that they didn't put out and things like that for whatever reason they do. But I wish we would have touched on, hey, Shelly, like how was it for you? Because it came out that you cried the most. You know what I'm saying? That you was there for everybody else. And when it was time for basically, you know, you to actually stand on your own 2 feet saying like, I did not like that. I don't want to talk to you because right now, it wouldn't be a good conversation. Some people see that as, hey, that is maturity, like, because that's how I am. I'm like, I'm not going to say nothing nice right now, so don't talk to me right now. But it's just so, to me, I find it so interesting, crazy even, that this person that we have seen basically for 99% of the season show emotional
regulation.
I like that. Mm-hmm. But emotional maturity.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. Someone that can show maturity throughout the whole time. And the one time she actually feels slighted by what somebody did, mm-hmm. we look at her, or they looked at her, because I ain't look at her, as you tripping. My only thing is, as I put the same basically rules for everybody else, I say, hey, I'd rather you talk about it with the person that offended you than talk about it with everybody else.
And I think that's where the conversation, when people have discussions about it, gets so misconstrued, mm-hmm. Because you can see that she was upset.
Very.
And feel like, okay, that's fine that you're upset, but I still think that you could have went about it differently.
Yes.
When it came to, okay, you weren't ready to talk to Huda,
mm-hmm.
maybe you needed one friend, Olandria, somebody to mm-hmm. kind of like bounce off your feelings and stuff like that. But it seemed like there was multiple people gathered around having conversations about Huda and the situation.
Yeah.
And Huda was being, you know, isolated away from the group mm-hmm. because Shelly was unhappy with her. And you know, yes, part of that is Huda's doing, but the other part is if you don't feel like talking about it, then it can come across as a gang up.
Yeah.
You know, but I will say that it is unfair to mark her as a mean girl for her having her reaction or basically being upset, mm-hmm. and how people would kind of mark her as a mean girl mm-hmm. because of that. And of course, I know that being a Black woman in certain spaces, mm-hmm. that if you have any reaction or any response or any emotional response to a situation, then people will judge you harsher and pick apart your character for them to believe that you're not the person that you present to be. I mean, I've had situations, you know, at past jobs to mm-hmm. where I don't know if y'all believe it, I'm quiet. I'm actually not a very talkative person. Mm-hmm. And so when I would go to work, you know, I'd say hey to people and, you know, go about my day. But there would be some people who would be like, why don't you say anything? You got an attitude. What's wrong with you? You know, and then people will have it in their head that I'm mean or I'm rude or all these different types of things, because they don't realize that I am a quiet Black girl. And so not to put myself in this situation, but just to say that although when we're talking about our perspectives mm-hmm. on this show, we might not get into the perspective of, oh, y'all are calling her mean because y'all are racist. That's not my perspective. Mm-hmm. I think that she could have handled this situation differently.
Better, in my,
so that way one person wouldn't have been iced out and they could have actually come to an agreement instead of everything coming to a head during the letters challenge.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like there could have been a better opportunity to go about it. But I think that for the people who consider her mean based off her reaction, I think that is unfair. You know, and she was angry.
And then on mm-hmm. top of that, those people who was basically trying to call her mean mm-hmm. were just trying to find any excuse to call her mean. Mm-hmm. Basically, she played a perfect game mm-hmm. for basically 5 weeks, and the 1 week where she basically have fatigue.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it was. It was Huda fatigue, which I wish Keke would have asked, why did y'all vote for Huda to stay in the villa? Mm-hmm. And I think, in my opinion, the reason why they did was it's kind of like how we kind of move around in the world. We got to be forgiving. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? We have to give people a shot because we know even though our shots may be limited and things of that nature, we are, as they were, the mothers of the villa and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. They'd be like, you know what? Huda deserve a shot.
Yeah.
But of course, it bites you in the behind because I can see from Shelly's perspective of, I voted for you to stay. Mm-hmm. I didn't mess with Jeremiah, even though I didn't want Jeremiah, but we show you respect during challenges. Mm-hmm. You crashing out. You're calling these women out of their names. We got to talk you off the ledge every time. You're having a conversation with Isis. We have to run upstairs to make sure you don't do nothing to that girl. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Iris. I keep calling her Isis. Mm-hmm. Iris, forgive me. And all these things, and all these times where I was behind you when I probably didn't want to be, right? Mm-hmm. You can't show me the little decency of basically, hey, respect me and Ace real connection. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? All I wanted for Chelley to do is to say that, to actually be upfront and basically be like, you know what, this is why, besides, I don't want to talk to you, you know what, we talk later tomorrow or whatever. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like in that moment, Huda deserved to be told about herself if she was 100% in the wrong.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not, but like you said, as a black woman, as you were speaking, that's a burden that I do not know about. Mm-hmm. Right? Even though I'm black myself, I do have a privilege, and that's being a man. I don't have to think about stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I wish that we would have touched on that. I'm sure there's going to be other interviews that they are going to do. I want to see more one-on-one interviews too, because I think they both have a story that deserves, you know, independent attention, but I love the sisterhood between them two.
Yeah.
And things like that. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Listen here, make sure y'all look out for, we're going to do some deep dives on a show we do called Love and Marriage Huntsville. Make sure y'all tap in with that. We also do Big Brother. Y'all begged us to do Big Brother. Okay? Y'all begged us. Watch it, okay? We're doing it. Also, if you want daily updates and things like that, we're not doing the 24-hour feed of Big Brother. You can go to Lifestyle with Lex. She does it. Let her know we sent you there. You get what I'm saying? Anything else?
That's it.
And y'all be good.
Bye.